Astonishing and terrifying, a menacing wall of water smashes over the sea wall in Miyako City in Iwate Prefecture. These are yet more dramatic images of Friday's tsunami striking eastern Japan. Locals aghast as the massive wave engulfs the shore. Cars and boats tossed around like toys, almost everything in its path swept away. Three days into this disaster and more heartbreaking stories are emerging. Swept 400 metres inland. Today she is hoping for a miracle. Tsunami hit Natsuko, fled Sendai, one of the areas closest to the epicentre. She returned today but can't get her bearings. The town, once so familiar to her, now reduced to a wasteland.
Words fail me, because there's nothing here. The things that are supposed to be here, everything is gone.
Where to go, what to do, it's a dilemma facing millions of people here. Nearby, rescue crews continue the grim task of locating bodies, and it is bodies they are finding, not survivors. But it is not always that way. These people stranded on the roof of a school spot something moving below. There's signs of life in a car washed up in the mud and debris. Rescuers rushed to pull out 3 elderly people. They'd been stuck there for more than 20 hours without food and water and in near freezing temperatures. Elsewhere, another miraculous survivor story. This man was swept out to sea on the remains of the roof, torn from his home. Rescuers find him floating 16 kilometres offshore. The 60-year-old had been at sea for 2 days, distraught at the knowledge that his wife did not survive.
From the air, it just looked unreal. But close up, the true impact the wave had here on homes, shops, whole neighbourhoods is overwhelming. For mile after mile, the tsunami flattened everything, throwing cars aside, pulverising houses, and dragging the debris far inland. 10,000 people are still unaccounted for here. More than half the town is missing. This family did make it out in time. They came back today and were shocked by the damage. I was in the car with my daughter when everything began to shake violently, she told me. We rushed back to the house, grabbed a few bags. They then drove up and out of town just before the tsunami struck.
This is just one small cove, one tiny inlet that we've been able to get to along this vast length of coastline that was struck by the tsunami. And you can get a sense of the power of the wave that surged up this area, crushing this car as if slamming it into a wall. Another one on its roof, and buildings picked up and dragged by the power of the water up the valley. This is the impact in this small area alone. Imagine this many, many times over.
Tonight, hundreds of those who made it to safety were sheltering in a local school sports hall. Their homes and possessions lost, nowhere to go. They both
4 days on and new pictures keep emerging. A once thriving fishing port goes through its death throes. This is the moment of impact in the town of Minami Sanriku. 17,000 people once lived here. As of today, 10,000 are missing. The massive wave astounding those who've spent a lifetime making their living from the sea. The waves just kept coming and coming, says this fisherman. Slowly but surely the roads to the town are being cleared, allowing a trickle of people to begin to return. Among them, this distraught couple looking for loved ones. I'm searching, he says, for my father, my mother. I want to find them. I want to find them. But even now it is not safe to be here. Aftershocks and tsunami warnings intermittently forcing people to run for higher ground. In nearby Ishinomaki, the sea still engulfs large parts of this coastal town. Hundreds remain stranded.
A large ship now sits on a dockside. A fishing boat on top of a car on top of a fence, and a house in the middle of the street. This was Tsunami on Friday as the massive tsunami swept in, tossing boats aside like children's toys, uprooting houses and turning the city's streets into torrents of angry black water. 3 days after the tsunami, much of Tsunami is still underwater and walled in by mountains of debris.
The latest government figures suggest 164 Australians remain unaccounted for in disaster-affected regions of Japan. 2,705 have been confirmed as safe, including 129 in affected areas. Far from exact, with some travellers failing to notify authorities when they leave Japan and others not registering on arrival. Response teams comprising embassy linguists and consular staff continue working around the clock to find the 164 Australians yet to be located.